South?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely mentioned that what's at stake in this game for sure. Again, the message to the players was going 1-0 this week, 1-0 this week, and yeah, there's a hat and a T-shirt that comes along with that, you know. But at the end of the day, this is about going 1-0 against a team that's going to be extremely ready to play, physical. It was a back and forth kind of gritty game last time we played in Tennessee, and we do have more football left, but that's not what the focus and mentality is right now.
How impressive have you been with the focus of you guys, some of whom have not been in these kind of stakes before?
Yeah, I think it sometimes can almost help where you're a little bit, I don't want to say naive to what's going on, but you're just, again, really focused on the daily, hourly, game-by-game improvement. That's all we can really focus on right now. That's been the message is, hey, let's get our best effort, mindset, execution, preparation, all of that this week to go 1-0. And it's a division opponent, a team that, obviously doesn't probably like us too much, and that's just the way it goes in division, right? And that's just the way those games go. And you're excited about these opportunities to play meaningful games in January and in December.
You talked to the team about that? You mentioned they don't like you, and they got a little chippy the first go around.
They know. I don't got to tell them anything about this game. I don't got to tell them a single thing. So they're extremely aware. It's going to be one of those type of football games where we understand that they've improved, I think, Tennessee, in really all areas. I mean, it's one of the best run defenses in the National Football League over the last X amount of weeks. They are scoring more offensively. You can tell that Cam has definitely found a little bit more of a rhythm. They're getting the ball out of his hands, some more RPOs. They're running it well. There's not a lot of quit in that football team in Tennessee right now.
It's well documented throughout the season about how the offensive line has had to be, kind of patchwork and guys getting hurt and guys stepping in, and it's all worked out well. But do you think the secondary had just as many challenges with injuries, and the product they keep putting on the field, no matter who's at what position, has still been pretty good week in and week out?
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think that's it's a very fair, great point. It's a group of guys, I've said this before, that are extremely unselfish, that all they've wanted to do really is prove worth and continue to get more snaps and to get as much. And what they get and what they do on Sundays is because they earned it, and because they earned the opportunities to go out there and do it through their preparation, through practice, through, doing it on Sundays as well. And so Milo, Perk, those guys have done a phenomenal job, I think, getting those guys ready to play, no matter who it was and who it's going to be every Sunday. And credit that group. I mean, Buster, Greg, Murray, Dewey, Jarian, Braz, Antonio, all those guys have played. And obviously, Jordan Lewis being out now. But so many of these guys have played and made huge plays for us this season at some point or another. And look, they just put their heads down, work. We're typically a little light in the defensive backfield in terms of how many guys we're actually carrying per game. And they don't say anything. They just keep working. They keep preparing. They keep practicing the right ways. And I think Buster had almost 4 PBUs last weekend. I mean, a lot of guys go throughout a whole season without 4. So, proud of that group, and you can definitely see a lot of the similarities between the OL room and the defensive backfield with the amount of guys that have been able to contribute for us this year.
With Jeffrey Simmons, is he the best defensive player you prepared for this year?
If not, yeah, I would say he's right there, without question. And it's such a pain because they do a good job moving him around. You can expect him to be at one place at times, but then in base defense, he'll move a little, and then in known passing situations, they'll move him around. He's extremely strong. I mean, what he does to people out on that football field that are grown men is pretty impressive. Seriously, I'm not comparing to Aaron Donald, but I was with Aaron on a daily basis, and I saw what he did to other grown men a lot, and it was like, wow, all right, dude, you're different, right? And that's kind of how I see Jeffrey that way, is he's just different, and it takes a village, it takes a group effort to prepare for a game record like him, yeah.
I
know you guys have played against them before, but just what is your focus when you're going against one of the top returners like you're on this week?
DK? Yeah. We've got to be obviously improved from where we were last week in terms of the kickoff coverage, a little bit more disciplined in our, responsibilities and roles on those teams, and then also doing a little bit of a better job coming to balance, same foot, same shoulder, being able to shed blocks, strike blocks, and just play with better fundamentals and techniques. We know this is a good special teams unit, not just the returner and DK, well-coached group and all that. And so we're going to have to be more disciplined, have a little bit more of that mindset and mentality to get off blocks, strain, and go make plays on it, but not outside of the scheme, right? Let's stay within the structure of the kickoff coverage and go do what we've done at a high level throughout the majority of the season.
Tony's talked about there's a standard if you're going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar player or whatever. What is that standard? What do you tell those guys is that standard, the player?
Mentally and physically tough dudes that love to play football and they love the game of football. That's where it starts for me and for us as a team is there's so much that goes into being a professional football player, right? And you try to, within a team, that's obviously the number one focus, right? But every individual has to be able to fit into that team differently, right? Because everybody is truly different. And so those standards, though, don't change, right? Those standards are the way that we want to operate on a daily basis, the way that we want these guys to ultimately care about each other and care about the team first. Knowing that there's going to be adversity within a season. There's going to be hard times. You might lose your job for a week. You might be able to get your job back in a week. You might be active. You might be inactive. You may have a great game. You may not have a great game. Well, that's mental toughness. And so guys that can withstand those type of, different ebbs and flows in a season, that's what we're looking for.
Liam, what has stood out about the way Spencer Whipple's worked with Trevor Lawrence and also worked with you and Grant?
Yeah, Spence is, we go way back, I hosted Spence on his official visit at UMass. Fun time. And his dad almost might have killed me, but we had a good time. And then, Spence was with me for a few years. Spence is just so good for me, for the staff, because of how you talk about the 3 C's: calm, cool, collected. Like, you always want your quarterback to play like that and be that way, and that's Spence. Like, he's always like this, and obviously I'm not. And so it's really good for the buffer and for the guy in between at times. Trevor and I's, conversations, communication, relationship is somebody that does not ride those waves and get too high, get too low. And he knows how to handle me on game day and also throughout the week. And I think he's done a phenomenal job with Trevor, with that communication, but also the amount of work that they spend, the amount of time that they spend together doing extra, that's not easy to do. It's a commitment by Trevor, first and foremost, like to be challenged, to want to do extra, to want to do more, and Spence for the amount of time that they put into it, right? There's a lot of details that go into a game plan, none any deeper and more important than the quarterback position. And so Spence has done a great job. I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised whatsoever at how calm, cool, collected he's been throughout this entire season. And now that, everybody's like, oh, he's playing well now. Nothing has changed about the way that Spence has coached him. And that's what I'm proud of.
You were talking on McAfee about sometimes guys just need, I guess, the right fit, the right situation. How much is, like, guys like Spencer and all the stuff that we don't see or people don't see, part of that right fit?
Yeah, so much of that. So much of the behind the scenes, like everybody, obviously you talk about the head coach, the quarterback, you talk about those things, right, and the coordinators. But, the amount of people that make practice just operate on a staff is insane, right? And that operation goes into a huge also reason why the quarterback is able to have more success, or the receiver or the running back, whatever it is. It truly takes a village, right? It's not just one or two coaches that, man, you can point to that, and that's why there's improvement. It's so much that goes into an entire staff per side of ball, truly being all on the same page, having the same goals, communication being like this. There's going to be hard times. There's definitely frustrating times within a staff and a season, but I think this group has done a phenomenal job of just going to the next week, continuing to send the right message to our players, and keep getting them motivated each week. That's not easy to do as a coach at times for this amount of games, this how long we've been doing this for all season. I feel like I was just hired. Like not long ago. And so that's the fun part, though, when it goes fast and you're doing it with a group of people that you care about, and they push these guys, which I appreciate.
Trevor's having his best season running the ball. He talked a little bit about finding the freedom to be creative. But what's that balance where he's able to freelance on plays when it breaks down and playing the grade, but not overdo it?
Yeah, that's just playing, man. I definitely wasn't the best athlete as a player in the world, but I do recall when you were playing free and you were just kind of going without thinking too much, you just naturally move more. Like you do. I mean, the ball is going to spit. The ball is going to come out when you want it out, and when the timing and rhythm, anticipation all calls for it, right? But you want a guy that does have let's call it a superpower, right? Or whatever it is, like something that they're good at. Well, you don't want them to ever feel like they're boxed into a call. You just don't want them to feel that way in terms of, man, I have to throw the ball either here, or this play is going to suck. That's not how you want them to feel. You're like, man, he's going to make this play come to life, regardless of what happens, regardless if it's open, not. He takes the right or wrong footwork, or he ends up having to beat a free hitter and go make a play. Like, that's football. That's really what it comes down to. And so often we can get caught up in the scheme and the X's and O's and the play. And it's like, nah, it's about the players making those plays, yeah.
You talked about kind of the whirlwind this season has been. After this week, is there a second where you can kind of stop and smell the roses, or is it immediately on to the next thing?
Yeah, I can't imagine we're going to have too much time here, that's the beauty of this league, though. It's so humbling that you don't have that time, and there's not a lot of people that are truly happy at the end of the season unless you're holding, the big one. And so that's the most humbling part about this profession and about this league is you put in so much time, you can do so many good things, but there's only one team that's really thrilled at the end of the season. And you got to figure out a way to go do it all over again. And so no matter what occurs, you're able to, you have to reset your mind and go play the next week. I mean, I just saw Sean, his comments after the Atlanta game was like just how humbling of a game this is, how humbling of a profession this is, that gives us the opportunity to get off the mat and go do it again. No matter what the circumstances were, win, lose, or draw, you got to get off the mat and go prepare for the next game, and nobody cares because it's all about the next one and the next opportunity.
Coach, thank you.
Great. Yeah.